the silence of being, you are the awareness of the greatest doing. Now is when the inspiration was how the simultaneous existence of the individual towards a collective view and a collective view towards an individual was present. So in one manner, where this individually conscious being reaching for the stars to find our greater collective and cosmic sense of being, But at the same time, the ocean too merges into the drop. I would actually love to share a Kabir quote with you. And Kabir, this realized being, says, all know that the drop merges into the ocean, but few know that the ocean merges into the drop. And I remember putting this as the epigraph for the first thing I ever wrote. First book. And it's because it's suggesting that in existential and divine reunion, your moment is realizing it does not have to be the same individuality. It's as if the reason you could know it in an instant because you were living in an enlightened way. So you began to see that the nature of man's consciousness is not that he has to be. It's that he is. So we are just observing form. And then it seems to be how we are putting and projecting meaning into that form. But the existential observance of that form will take you beyond your own ignorance. And that is one of the greatest catalysts of man. That what you are ignoring is actually a phenomenal experience if challenged. What that means is if life brings you a challenge, life has brought a sense of this kind of force and challenge to you. It's as if that much of an intense wind is hitting you. Now it is up to you how much effort you choose to keep yourself there. And of course I've had extremely windy days where I've just kept myself, I've kind of anchored myself by putting my right leg behind, and just standing in the wind, kind of lunging in some way, And you always have the ability in the incapability you see yourself. What that means is if your creative intelligence created an incapable view of a self, it has a total ability to create a capable self. And so before you really seek your ambition or think that it's something you could write down on a piece of paper, recognize that we're not here to make to-do lists and to-be lists. We're not here to just be a response to what they asked the kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? We are here to know the nature of existential intelligence because we are a present expression of it, a present ambassador and emissary of it. What that means is when I look at what I know, is I know how I have existed. And so with the sincerity and honesty of an eternal flame, one finds that the communication is so simple that it's as if there is no good and bad. It's like, gosh, who made the bad and good so serious? It's the awareness to the good and bad that really shows why yin and yang were in the same circle of life. Every good thing is suggesting a bad thing. Every bad thing is suggesting a good thing of that intensity. And when you look at how it's suggesting, it's because the mind is aware. it is self-reflective. So what that means is when you go in the mirror and you're moving your head in the mirror, and you're like, oh nice, a mirror, you know. So at that moment, your intelligence is being projected in front of the mirror and it's moving. Existential sensitivity is the beauty of how our design is its own expression. And so this is where you see that the sages back in the day said something very wise. And they said, in life, you have two options. To either trust life or not trust life. And you need to see, if you don't trust life, you will wonder why. What is it that is not trusting? But if you do trust life, if you trust your intuition or your sense of where you feel you need to go, and you just trust, you will see that the world will trust you. When you acknowledge others with the same intensity of good and bad that you see within yourself and the same lack of judgment you have within yourself, we are not here to repeat the mistakes of heresy. We are not here to suggest ignorant passages, but to show that the beauty of divine work is that the words were there to show that they were never there. Transcendental knowledge has been the idea that was empty because it was beyond the idea. So your imagination is how you're observing your thought and your subtler planes of consideration, and you working with the intelligence of how you are aware of them. You know, I mean, there are certain teachings that we can give collectively, and we can follow a certain regimen or something, but you must work with your intelligence. You're here to work with yourself. So what that means is, when you look at that person who's doing parkour, he learned a big life lesson. You have to put in the effort and you have to do the work to develop that skill. So similarly, your consciousness has been conditioned in a certain way. It's as if you've kind of been thrown, you know, it's as if you're this snowball thrown in this field of, you know, just fresh snow, and the snow is building up, and you're seeing this kind of snowball effect of how your conditioning is brought to you here. But you must realize you are an awareness beyond the snow. Because you are looking at the nature of how the clouds even originate in such a manifestation. And we need to see that humanity and human psychology is best maintained through compassion and a sense of general and genuine niceness. You know? Much blessings, Master.